family and friends and fellow YouTubers, it's Kim here from Kim's Country Corner, and this weekend I am out at the Hancock Homestead to spend the weekend visiting with John. And while I'm out here, I wanted to do the September monthly walk-around. I like to do monthly walk-arounds of the homestead to show some of the updates, some of the changes that have been going on. I haven't been real consistent this year, but I've been trying, and we've had a lot going on this year. We've done a lot of improvements out here on the farm, and then we've also both have been dealing with some medical issues. So just to kind of recap our summer, at the beginning of May, John had back surgery, and so for the 8 weeks during May and June, he was out of commission and couldn't do hardly any work at all, waiting for his back to heal. And I was out here helping him through the process. And then after the 4th of July, he returned back to work, and while he had gone back to work, I was still out here because I was trying to clean out the machine shed so that the painters and the electricians could get in there to work, because my girls decided to throw their dad a surprise 70th birthday party, and they wanted to have it in the machine shed. So that meant that the machine shed needed to be cleaned out, and since it was a surprise, I had to kind of negotiate with John about getting things done. I was like, you know, you've always wanted to put a new floor in the machine shed. Maybe this would be a good year to do that, you know. And he was like, okay, you know. So he bought some clay and he bought some rock and he got the floor put in, and so we managed to get the machine shed updated and functional. So that's what most of our summer was spent on, or most of our July anyway was spent on. And then we also got the old barn repainted and got electricity ran to it. And so it's been a very busy summer. And while we've been doing these improvements and these updates, like I said, John was dealing with a back surgery recovery. I was dealing with vertigo. I had a whole week of vertigo where I couldn't even walk straight. And that is very unnerving. It's just very frustrating when you want to do something and you can't, because you can't walk, because your balance is completely off. And so that was a very frustrating week for me, and it of course wiped out a whole week of doing anything. And then, so we did end up having John's surprise birthday party. I hope you watched the video of that. And it went off very well, and the girls did an awesome job. But right after John's birthday party, he came down with COVID. And he was sick with COVID for about 2 weeks. Now, just so you know, he was fully vaccinated. He had had both vaccines. I was fully vaccinated. Our whole family is fully vaccinated. And John got it anyway. And we think he picked it up from someone at work. But anyway, so 2 weeks of coughing and feeling bad. But he recovered. And so he is now back to work again, and my vertigo cleared up, and so I'm back piddling around here on the homestead, and everything seems to be back on track. But I am getting ready to leave to go on a month vacation with my sister in her RV, and we are going up through the Northeast up to Maine to see Acadia National Park. We'll be seeing other national parks too. And we're also going to go to Niagara Falls, and we're going to see the Flight 93 Memorial, and we're going to Pennsylvania. We have lots of other places we're stopping, but our main goal is to get to Acadia National Park in Maine. We are both retired school teachers, and it has always been our dream that when we retired, we would do this Northeast fall trip, you know, where you travel the New England states and you see all the fall colors. And so that is what we will be going on soon. And before I leave on that trip, though, I want to do this walk around with you, this fall walk around. and to also give you a garden update. I have not done a garden update all summer. Now I'm going to tell you up front, my garden was not very good this year. We had rain in March, April, May when you're supposed to have rain, but then we also had 10 straight days of rain in June. We had, I bet, 4 or 5 days of rain in July, and then we even had rain in August. So it has been a very, very rainy year. And I don't know if that's what caused my garden not to grow very well. I know it says that rain, is supposed to help gardens, but I think it just flooded mine. Anyway, so I'm going to give you a garden update when we're out there. And I'm going to go ahead and stop yapping now and go ahead and start the walk around. Okay, but before we start the walk around, I want to give a shout out to my daughter Karen and my grandkids Jeffrey, Emma, and Jackson for my outfit that I have on. I've had people comment about how they like my flowery, frilly yoga pants, and I like them too because they're very comfortable. And my daughter Karen and the grandkids gave me this outfit for my birthday. So thank you guys for the nice birthday present and for giving me something comfortable that I can wear out here on the homestead. Alright, so let's go ahead and start this fall walk around. And I apologize up front for how windy it's going to be. I will try to speak loud enough so that you can hear me, but let's go do the best we can do. Alright, here we go. Okay, I also want to mention one more thing. Paulo is probably going to be walking with me. And you guys are going to notice that he has a bare spot on his back where his hair has been shaved. Paulo, in August, got a tick bite. And the tick bite became infected. And he has some kind of a tick-borne illness. When I took him to the vet, because he was limping and his sore was infected and he just, was not acting normal. So we took him to the vet, and the vet decided that it was a tick-borne infection. So of course he was started on antibiotics and anti-inflammatories, and he is much, much better now. But to get the sore to heal up, they had to shave his back to put ointment on the sore. And so when he's walking with me, if you notice his back has bare spots and is shorter, that's why. It's because he recovered from a tick-borne infection. So between John's medical issues and my medical issues and poor Paulo's medical issues, we've been dealing with quite a bit this summer. But we're all back to being healthy. So, okay, now we're ready to do this walk. Well, he's usually waiting for me right there. I thought that's where he would be. Where you at, Paulo? There he is. Are you under the porch? Huh? Are you sleeping under there? My friends want to say hello. Yeah, how you doing, huh? Yeah. See, that's his bare spot. Yes, you're feeling much better now, aren't you? Yes, you are. You was a sick puppy for a while. You ready to take this walk? All right, here we go. Okay, so first of all, we'll stop off here in the potting shed. And I've already got my black oil sunflower seeds here, ready to start feeding the winter birds. Got my tools laid out so I can clean them. Give a quick view of my potting shed in case you're a first-time viewer. Kind of have it decorated just a little bit. Besides being useful and having a purpose to store my tools, I also enjoy coming out here to sit. And speaking of tools, this is one of my new tools. It is a battery operated Black & Decker cultivator. Those little tines down there really chop up the weeds and stir up the dirt for me. And then John has his weed eater out here right now. And then more tools over here in this corner. So yes, so this is my potting shed, and I do have a rocking chair in here because sometimes I like to just come out here and sit and think about my future gardens. All right. You can hear the chickens down here. We are down to 4 chickens. We've lost a couple more chickens this summer. These chickens are old and they are no longer laying. So these girls are just living out their life here on the homestead. And we are thinking about starting a new flock next spring. Let's see, we have 2 barred rocks back there. This brown one here is a partridge rock. And then this yellow one is a buff Orpington. So these girls have lived 7 long years out here on the homestead. I kind of like this. We have a volunteer sunflower growing right here by the chicken pen. Alright, so next on the tour is the chicken house. And before y'all say anything, yes, I know it's dirty. And yes, I know it needs to be cleaned out. And that will be on my fall list of things to do. I need to come in here and take out the old straw and wipe off these nesting boxes, clean out these feeders and clean them up really well. And yeah, so I do have some work to do in here. When my kids used to show chickens for 4-H, we would put our pen of 3 in these cages. There was a cage for each kid, and they would show pens of 3. Okay. And it looks like you guys have already torn up my good straw bale there. Yeah, are you going back outside? Huh? Yeah, I'd go out there and enjoy this weather while you can. Alright. So, and then here is this side. Our chicken house is divided into 2 sides. We have the west side over here, and then we have the east side over here. And it's set up this way so that we can keep different ages of chickens, or if we were wanting to breed chickens, we could keep one breed on one side and then our other ones on the other side so that they wouldn't mix together. But it's really nice having a 2-sided chicken house. But right now we just have four ladies here using it. So we have had many more. When John's mother and dad were here, they had like 150 meat chickens. They would use this for meat chickens. We don't do meat chickens, we do egg layers. And we've had up to 50 egg layers, 25 on each side. So, but now, so that's why it's kind of sad that now we're just down to these 4. But they're good ladies. All right. Alright, next stop is the brooder house. This little house here is the brooder house. It's where we start the baby chicks out. I'll go ahead and peek in there. It's right now is being used for storage. We're going to be putting up some fencing. So we have the fence post stored in here. And then I also have my black plastic for my garden boxes stored in here. But this is where we do our young chicks when we start them out before moving them to the big chicken house. Alright, so now we'll move on down here to the garden so that I can do a garden update. I'll start up here at the north end. Alright, so I'm at the north end looking south. And if you notice, we have two brand new boxes. The two boxes that were originally there were falling apart. They were 7 years old and they had served their purpose, but they were starting to fall apart. And I'll show you what I mean when we get down to some of the older boxes. So we hired Karen's brother-in-law, Matt's brother, to come out and build us some new boxes. And these are the first two he got finished. And we did some improvements to the new boxes. The old boxes we had simply nailed into the 4x4. But as you're going to see, they don't hold real well just being nailed into that 4x4. So we've gone and we have started adding metal braces here on the corners. And hopefully between the 4x4 post on the inside, because we still do have them screwed into that 4x4 post, and the metal brackets, the metal braces, hopefully that will hold them together better and longer. Because the wood lasted long enough, it was just, they would come apart at the seams. So we tried to make the seams stronger. Alright, if you watched my spring video, you know that I put cucumbers in this box, or the old box that was there. And the cucumbers did very well. They grew, they flowered, they put on fruit. The cucumbers were great, and we enjoyed them. But then when we decided to replace the box, we decided to go ahead and pull them up and dispose of them so that the new box could be built. But we did get cucumbers. Alright, so now moving down to the next two boxes. If you look at the previous video I did on the garden, this box was really falling apart. We found that we were able to repurpose some of the boards, but some of the boards had to be replaced. That's why it's the two-tone color. One of these days they will match. The yellow will gray up. So, and then on this side we have the peppers, and they are doing really well. But here's the reason that we don't like free-ranging chickens, because they eat our vegetables. So they ruin a lot of our vegetables when they get out and decide to come over here and peck at our plants. But we were able to get a lot of green peppers, and we still have more coming on. There's a nice plump one right over there. And we've had some reds and some yellows. So, and we're still getting peppers. So the peppers did well. Okay, so the original plan was to put Romas in these two boxes. I could not find any Roma tomatoes, so then I went and ordered Amish paste online. Got a notice that the Amish paste were back ordered. then got a notice that the Amish paste were no longer available. So these boxes ended up with no tomatoes in them at all. And since I don't have a good canning tomato, then that means this year I won't be canning. However, that's not really a bad thing because I'm not going to be here for a month. I'm going to be on vacation with my sister and don't really have time to can this year anyway. Alright, but here's why we are replacing the boxes, because you can see, like for example, this board is just broke off on the ends, and the screws just did not want to hold into the wood anymore. But I hope that by putting in those metal corners that will help the situation, because the wood is still pretty usable. I mean, we're probably going to replace this whole box, but some of this wood could be repurposed. Alright, but these two boxes sat empty, and we did add water to this one because it was getting low. Okay, so then we're down here at the very end, at the south end, and these two boxes had tomatoes. I put 6 Better Boy tomatoes on this side and 6 Better Boy tomatoes on that side. Okay, well this side has done pretty well. You can see that they've been growing up the trellises. They have been fruiting. I will say, however, that this has not been a good year. I mean, just look at how small those are. If you guys look at any of my past videos, you will know that I have grown tomato plants, Better Boy tomato plants, that have been taller than these cages. They've outgrown the cages, but this year they barely made it halfway up the cages. So I don't know. I don't know whether it was too much rain or whether it would rain and then get dry, and we did have problems with insects this year. I mean, if you look at these plants, you can see that we have some kind of a cutworm going on. Just look at that. So not a good year for tomatoes. We do have some. We have eaten some. Like there's one right there. I see some over here. See, there's one. Here's the batch getting ready. There's some back in there. So, we have gotten tomatoes this year, but not near what we've gotten in the past. This box over here, we had a windstorm come out of the southeast over there that literally was so strong, it took and ripped these cages out of them across the other boxes. They're now stacked over there. We didn't even bother to try to put them back in. But really, tomatoes do not have to be staked. I mean, yes, it's better if you can stake them. But as you can see over here, this mess over here, we've just let them vine out. That's their natural state, is just to vine out. And you can come out and get tomatoes. Now, the only thing about having them on the ground like that is you have to get them right away or they will start to bruise. But like, there's a nice tomato. There's no problem with that one. You know, there's no problem with this one. So, if you can't stake tomatoes, that's okay. You can still grow them. But as you can see, that if they're staked, it does keep them up off the ground, and they're not as likely to spoil as quickly. All right, so there's the update on the tomatoes. Okay year, not the best, only half as tall as what they normally get. But if you're a longtime gardener, you know that there are going to be years that it's just going to flop. You're going to have years that your garden will flop. And you just have to go with the flow. You just have to say, okay, this was not a good year. Next year will be better. And then you hope that next year is actually better. So I had a flop year this year, and I hope that next year will be better. All right. We planted 6 rows of corn. The corn grew to about waist high. Then it tasseled at waist high. Now anyone that's grown corn knows it does not tassel at waist high. It has to be over your head before it starts to tassel to give you any kind of ears. So we did not end up with any corn. Our corn was a complete flop. We got absolutely no ears of corn. It was scrawny, it was yellow, it was thin and pale, and tasseled way too early. And so, what do we think the issue was? Too much rain for one thing. We have a low spot here in the garden. So we're trying to amend that by adding more soil. We think that this soil is too low on nitrogen. Corn needs a lot of nitrogen. So next spring we're going to amend this area with some extra nitrogen. Alright, let's go down here and look at the trellises. If you look at the video, you know that I planted 8 pickling cucumbers on each side. Do you all see 8 pickling cucumbers? No. I had 1 pickling cucumber grow on this side. And actually, I didn't even know this was out here because I quit looking. But yeah, that's what I got. And they didn't even grow up the trellis like they were supposed to. I think the problem is that I tried to use the cardboard box method, kind of make a raised bed using cardboard boxes. But I think the cardboard boxes stunted their root growth. Don't know for sure, just guessing. So maybe next year I'll try to just plant directly into the ground. It was just a technique I wanted to try. This one does look like it has some flowers on it. But I won't be pickling cucumbers this year. Can't pickle cucumbers into pickles without having the actual vegetable to do. Yeah, see, that was supposed to be covered with cucumbers. And it is not. Alright, this side here, I did the same thing. I planted 8 pickling cucumbers. I had 1 plant grow. And it's growing down along the ground, which is its natural state, instead of up onto the trellises. But that's partly my fault because we have been so busy this year that I did not come out to stake these. I wasn't checking them very regularly. I don't know if there was anything I could have done anyway. But my Boston pickling cucumbers growing up the trellis did not happen. However, I did manage to grow a tree. I just noticed that I have managed to grow a silver maple. Now, if you know anything about silver maples, you know that anyone can grow a silver maple. These things are like weeds. They're a tree, but they're a tree weed. So I'll need to get my pruning shears and come out here and chop that down, and I will probably have to add a weed killer to it. I know there's people out there that don't like weed killers, but if I want that maple tree to die, I'm going to have to add some other chemical to it. Alright, so I can't grow by pickling cucumbers, but I can grow a tree. Alright, let's move on to the next thing to look at. Okay, so the next thing on the tour is the machine shed. And no, I don't normally show this part, but I do want to show it today because I showed it to you guys completely empty, and now I'm going to show it to you being used. And as you can see, John has his tractor in here with the blade. We use that blade all the time for cleaning out gullies and scraping snow and leveling dirt. And same with the loader. That loader has been very valuable here on the homestead, clearing out brush, moving things. Okay, so if you remember, it was completely empty except for those two cabinets over there in the corner. Well, since that time we have added back this metal cabinet, and we put in a plastic shelf for all of his oils and antifreezes and all the things he needs for his equipment. And then he's got a workbench there, and a very, very old workbench there that he keeps for sentimental reasons because his dad and his uncle built that workbench. And so it's more sentimental. But as you can see, it's holding up. It is holding up, and it does store tools. Okay, and then over here is his hub of activity. There's our tiller. It doesn't normally stay there, but anyway, he must be working on it. Anyway, he has a work table there, work table there. This is his welding table. It's metal, so he uses it for welding. Chainsaw. And then he's got his welder, air compressor. So, for those of you who watched the video where you saw it completely empty, it now is full again. But it is a lot cleaner. But you have to have stuff to work with, you know. All right, so there is the barn. We'll take a look inside it. We'll go down here and start at the beginning. This part will store our hay. These doors opened. All right, so here is the center area. Straw there. Yes, I have a rocking chair out here too because this is where I work on some of my tin sculptures, which I'll share with you someday. I do those. There's Paulo's crate. Here's all of the old farm equipment for the horses. They used to have to use horses to do the farm work. This is some of the equipment. You'll have to watch the video about the old barn. We did do a lot of cleaning in here too. We keep this tarp on the straw here so that birds don't, you know, do on it. We store the lawnmower out here most of the time, so it's not in the way in the machine shed. Okay, and then here's the back part. We keep extra lumber over there. And then this part over here is empty. And then we walk out the north end, and there is our straw, or our hay field. There's the hayfield. John's been doing a lot of clearing out of that gully down there. It gets really overgrown with trees, especially those silver maples that grow like weeds. So he's been cutting those out and leaving the decent trees. All right. We'll head on back up to the house. And then we'll go through the cottage garden. You guys are getting a complete walk around. All right, so we're at the apple orchard, and this is the off year for apples. Apples are biennial. That means that they'll have a slow producing year and then a high producing year. And this is their slow producing year. But as you can see, we still have quite a few apples. In last year's video though, you will notice that there were twice as many last year. But we still have a good selection here. There's some up in there. Those we're going to have to wait to drop. Lots down there on the ground. Alright, let's go on over here to the iris bed. I had to redo the iris bed. We had so much rain that the irises developed root rot. Terrible root rot, and they all died, except for just a handful. But I contacted the vendors. I used Gilbert Wild and Sons, and told them what had happened, and they replaced the irises. Of course, we had to wait for them to replace them this fall, but they did send us new irises, and I have them planted, and right now they look good. And I did plant them up on hills. Of course, I planted them up on hills last year too, and they got too wet anyway. But like I said, this was the rainiest year that we've had in a very long time. But the irises are looking good. I have more coming. That's going to go right there in the middle. I had to wait for more, but I will eventually get them in. Alright, let's go ahead and walk on around the yard here, and we'll do the cottage garden last. Look at this trumpet vine. Look at the flowers on this trumpet vine. Aren't they beautiful? And the hummingbirds love them. Usually you'll see the hummingbirds in the evening though, around 4 o'clock. But look at those flowers. This year they did awesome. I mean, just look at this batch. Look at that. Look at all those flowers on there. And because they're red and they're trumpet shaped, the hummingbirds love them. And we have a huge mole problem. We have been dealing with moles all year this year, and we're going to have to check into how to fix that, because I hate seeing our yard all dug up like that all the time. I mean, one mole a year, okay, I get it, but not all the time. All right, let's go on down to the gate garden. Okay, now I know that the gate garden kind of looks like a weedy mess, But there are a lot of beautiful flowers in here. Some of them are just past their time, like the great big mammoth sunflowers. They're beyond the bloom, but they have a lot of seeds here for the finches and the sparrows. We still have some beautiful zinnias showing though. And the zinnia's beautiful. I do have a picture I'll try to put in of the garden gate flowers when they were at their full bloom. Look at those cosmos. I did kind of want this area to have this wild look to it, kind of a wild, naturalized look. I wouldn't mind if it was a little less weedier, but we do have quite a few flowers poking through, so the red zinnias just pop out. Look at this massive mammoth sunflower. The head is so big that it just droops. But y'all can see that. Look how massive that is. And all those seeds in there are just excellent bird food. Natural bird food. And that's mainly why I have this area here is more for wildlife, more for the butterflies and the birds. They kind of like this naturalized look. Got us a real tiny flower, yellow flower down in there. Beautiful zinnia. You'll see butterflies down here all the time. I have seen lots and lots of monarchs this year. I'm very happy to say this. Okay, and I do not know what this, I call it pussytail grass. I don't know the official name. That's my name for it, pussytail grass. But I like it. I know most people probably think it's a weed, but I like it. And it's a good thing I like it because it is harder than heck to pull. You almost have to get the shovel out and dig it out. But it doesn't bother me. Now weeds like this bothers me. But grasses like this does not. And there's another big mammoth sunflower right back there. So we can look at this one. It's actually got yellow still on it. Yep. I took some beautiful pictures of sunflowers. I'll try to put them in too. Alright, in case you're wondering, nope, the grapes did not get planted this year. The fence got moved back, but the grapes did not get planted. Always next year. Now, this iris bed looks like a grassy mess. The grass doesn't really bother me. I do try to get the weeds out. The grass doesn't bother me. But the irises, I think, are going to do fine. They will eventually multiply and mass, and you won't have all that grass in there. Okay. Daylilies, my ditch lilies did well. My peonies are doing pretty good. This one, I'm not sure. I'm hoping it's just going through its natural wilt. It's usually the first one to bloom, so I'm hoping that's why it's also the first one to wilt. Because it looks like a wilting mess. Okay. And then these ditch lilies over here did well. I did have to spray in this corner because that is poison ivy and I'm allergic to poison ivy. But this back is looking better. Every year it looks better. So. All right, let's go take a look at the cottage garden. Show them where the cottage garden is, Paulo. Huh? Where's the cottage garden? Is it over here? got the fence back up. My garden hose, I had to go down and spray my irises, so that's my garden hose there, but anyway. Alright, bird feeders, they're ready to be filled. Volunteer sunflower there. Planted marigolds for the first time this year. Well, the first time in the cottage garden. I used to plant them in the vegetable garden. And as you can tell, they are in full bloom. They are massive. Just a few seeds gave me all of these marigolds. But it's nice because they've lasted all summer, and here we are into fall, and they are still going full force. Salsa red coneflowers are still trying to put out some flowers down there. The hot papaya, though, they're done for. I haven't been really good about deadheading, but I'm leaving the seed heads on for the birds and to hopefully spread and give me more hot papaya coneflowers. The butterfly bushes are fabulous this year. I am so happy with the butterfly bushes, and I will try to post some pictures that I took of the butterflies on the bushes. My bee balm did not do a whole lot this year, but hopefully next year it will do more. Looks like I'm right in here. Let me get my shadow out of the way here. Here are the powwow wild berry coneflowers. Beautiful. They're going to seed. Look at this sunflower. I love the volunteer sunflowers. They just sprout up wherever they want. I added new gravel here, so we have a really nice patio area now. Well, it's not a patio, but a graveled sitting area. I think that gravel looks a whole lot better. My birdhouse tree was blown down in one of those major storms. But I think Matt's brother, Karen's brother-in-law, is going to come and make me a new one. So, alright, this side. Once again, those butterfly bushes did the job. I'm very happy with them. More marigolds. Everything's kind of at the end. The powwow berries down here are at the end. The cardinal flowers did fabulous this year. They're done, but they had beautiful red blooms. The hollyhock had some nice blooms on it. My irises over here, they're perking up. All of these sunflowers were beautiful earlier. They're kind of at their end, except for this one. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. But part of the reason I grow them is for birds. That's one reason I don't have birdseed feeders, because I have them growing naturally. Alright, and then here is the dry creek here with the daylilies and the wintergreen yews. No, what is that? What are they? Boxwood. The wintergreen boxwoods. Okay, family and friends. Well, I hope you enjoyed that September walk around. It was a bit long, I will admit, and my battery did die at the very end. But I wanted to do a comprehensive walk because I haven't done very many walk-arounds this year, and so I wanted to get in a final look at the homestead for this year. Not only do I do these videos for you guys, but I also do them for myself. They're kind of like my record keeping. I like to look at what I've done in the past, what things are standing at now, and what we might want to look at to do in the future. So they kind of work as documentation for me too. But I sure did enjoy the walk, and I hope that you did as well. And if you did, can you please give this video a thumbs up? It really helps to spread my YouTube channel around and share my message of homesteading. And be sure to check out my other channel too. This channel is called Kim's Country Corner Homesteading, and my other channel is called Kim's Country Corner Travels, and that's the channel that I share my traveling videos on. Now I do need to update that channel, and I will be doing that this winter whenever I can't get outside and do anything. I will be adding new videos to it because I have a lot of videos to share from my Texas trip back in January and February, and I'm going to have new videos to share of our Northeast trip to Maine. But I will be working on those videos this fall and winter, and hope to be uploading them more regularly to that channel. So please be sure and check out both my channels, Kim's Country Corner Homesteading and Kim's Country Corner Travels. And I hope to see you guys in the future. Thank you to all of my loyal subscribers that have been with me since the beginning, since 2015. It's been 6 years now. And welcome to all of my new subscribers, and please come back. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Be sure to stay tuned though, because I'm going to share some pictures here at the end. All right, bye for now.